Alright, this is a quick refresher of a previewing and questioning activity when we're reading our Holocaust literature texts. I am looking at a new text, one that we haven't looked at at all in class, but I'm tracking this on the same example document that we did look at when Ms. Gorman and myself made notes over some of the night documents. And I just kind of want you to see this thought process in action. I've always done one post predictions and questioning, and I want you to experience things that I'm thinking as I'm reading a text for the first time, because that's really what you're getting at when you are reading these texts. So I have Kindertransport in front of me by Olga Levy-Drucker, and I'm looking at the blurb right now, and it starts with an excerpt saying, "Mama and I climbed aboard. I waved to Papa until he was only a tiny speck in the distance. The train turned a curve and he was gone." That's an excerpt from the story, so something to kind of pull me in and get me interested. It also tells me a little bit about the family dynamic I'm stepping into. And then the write-up or kind of mini review also on the blurb says the powerful autobiographical account of a young girl's struggle as a Jewish refugee in England from 1939 to 1945. So already, before even cracking the spine of this book, I have some predictions and some questions floating around in my head. My first prediction is that Olga and her family will flee their country because I have the key terms of Jewish refugee. And if you're a refugee, that means you have moved from one country to another seeking safety, seeking refuge from something. And that's just on the back, so I'm going to say Drucker is all, because I don't have a page number to put in. I also have a question asking, why does her papa stay behind? As they flee, because the blurb says Mama and I climbed aboard. So I'm also predicting that Olga is an only child, since the blurb says, and I can summarize here, I don't have to take it word for word, but the blurb states that Mama and Olga got on the train, but it doesn't reference any other family members. Alright, now that's the blurb. There are some pictures on the cover, but you can't see them, so I'm not going to cover them right now. Now I'm just going to look at, ooh, there's an author's note. I didn't know that was here. Okay, so she says, in the telling of my story, I've used real names, only of those of my immediate family. All others have been changed. The events are true to the best of my ability to remember. So, on the blurb it said young girl. She says the best of her ability to remember. I'm predicting, and really drawing an inference, that Olga is fairly young. So she has kind of those growing up memories, how when you're really, really little, you can't always remember events as they happen. So she has maybe some childhood amnesia. Or perhaps the events were so horrific, she blocked them out. And then I want to see author's note for that, citing evidence, because again, this is very informal. If I mean, the author's note is 2 sentences. That's enough to get me to remember where I found it, and that's a perfect thing to bring to discussion. The last thing I'm going to look at in this video is the chapter titles. There's a table of contents at the beginning, and I'm just gonna kind of view the first few chapters. It says my house, moving day, trains in school, Kristallnacht, and that's a term that I've heard before. And then chapter 5 is we have Journey to England. So fairly early in the book they're moving because of chapter 2 and then chapter 5. So my question is, do they move somewhere else before fleeing to England? Or else what are they doing for 3 chapters? And then, is she German because of Kristallnacht occurring in Germany? I don't think Kristallnacht was in any other country, so that kind of leads me to question and actually kind of draw another inference that, I think based on this evidence, Ms. Drucker is a German citizen, at least originally. She does move, so maybe she's not still a German citizen, but that's where she's starting out. And then I'm going to walk you through my during reading activities in a separate video, so this one doesn't take too long to load, of actually reading the first couple chapters and thinking to myself either answers to my questions or modifying my predictions or pulling out citing or textual evidence that I want to bring to a discussion with Ms. Gorman that we're going to show you here in just a little bit to help better prepare us for Monday's discussion.